Hi and good morning. Welcome to today's walk and talk. It's getting a little colder as you see, and it was raining some days. So this is the first walk and talk after about 2 or 3 days. A lot happened in the market. Unfortunately, the market turned downwards and we are around 112,000 at the moment. It started yesterday or the night before, basically, that the price broke down. And again, it was, if you ask me, quite an unnatural pattern. Almost every asset you check on the charts has got this wick to the downside, which I think is very unusual. But loads of people got liquidated around in the first day. I don't know the numbers from this night or from today, but there will be many, many more. In the first day, there were 1.4 billion in longs liquidated, I think 400 million in shorts. Probably a lot of people went long yesterday again because we had drops in some of the assets. Also in assets I talked about, like in hyperliquid pump and so on, of 25%. And what I see that happened overnight, I think we have almost another 10-15% drop. So this leads me to the topic from today that I want to discuss: the separation between an investor and a trader. So we have been talking in the latest videos about some of these assets that have been falling quite a lot, right? And I recommended to have, if you use leverage, very low leverage, right? So if you have used a 2x leverage, then you're probably not liquidated by now. But the question is always, should you stay that long inside, right? Because now if you look at Bitcoin, it is very weak. It is very unstable. Yesterday, it moved around up to 12.8, I think. And then this morning, it's down at 12.2 again. It's very weak. So this is not a good sign. So it is much more clever, of course, to pick your assets much earlier, as we discussed many times on this video. Because if there's greed, then it's not a good time to buy, right? But if you are a trader, then you have a total different, or you should have a total different approach. If you are a trader, you should just mechanically actually perform the trades, meaning you have to decide what the goal is. And if you are late into the cycle, meaning you are not entering your trades when there's extreme greed or when there's really a downtrend, if you don't buy it in a very friendly environment that is very, very likely with a high percentage the button and will go up, then it's not a good idea to hold these assets, right? Then you need to trade them. Meaning if you enter the market in a neutral or in a already excited environment, in euphoria, then your strategy must be that you are going with the market. Meaning if, for example, you trade high for pump and pump goes up, I don't know, 10%, 15%, you take profit. Then you wait until it is going down, or if it's going up even more, then you take some more profit, because no asset, not even in the heaviest bull run, goes up straight, right? You always have days where it's coming down. Then you need to also consider what time frame you're trading, right? Because if you trade this kind of assets in the markets where it is already a little overextended, then I would recommend to trade a little shorter time frames. I'm not talking about 15-minute or even 5-minute time frames, but I'm talking about maybe trading on a 4-hour time frame and sometimes using the 1-hour time frame maybe to time your entries and exits. But this is what I recommend. So, and the difference is, if you're a long-term holder, your goal is, or could be, for example, you're holding this for 1 quarter, you're holding it for you're holding it. Time frames and price ranges are actually never a good idea. But what you could do is you could say, like, especially for Bitcoin, you just buy it and you don't sell it at all. And best is to store it away in some kind of hardware wallet. So you're protecting it from yourself and you're protecting it from whatever else can happen, right? And you have some kind of trading portfolio where you can trade as often as you want and learn how to trade. So be careful. Decide before you start to trade, is this, what is my purpose? What is my goal actually with this trade? Do I want to make all the money that I need for this month? And I learn or start to learn, or I'm able already to set up trades and then have actually my expenses, everything I need per month, I can finance out of this trading. Or with the other strategy, you can also do the same, but with the longer term holding, you really should hold through these dips now. So what I mean is, now, if you bought spot pump, or if you bought spot hyperliquid, then you just keep holding it. If you're in a leverage trade, it's not a good idea to still be there, right? And yeah, this is not an easy decision a lot of times. But with if you buy it spot, your only decision that you have to make, or the only thing that you need to know is the bull market over? If you can confirm this for yourself with yes, and you really believe it, then you should get out also out of this spot trade, right? For those of you who don't know, we have built Market Peak AI, which will help you to understand when the bull market is over. You can just go to marketpeak.ai. There's free access. You have all the data. It's a little delayed for some days, but you have all the data. Yeah, so hard decisions you need to make. But if you don't make these decisions, you will lose a lot of money. So trade very carefully. The other topic I wanted to discuss today is that also with all the trading, you can learn a lot. And now in the age that we're going into all this AI stuff, so AI, as you probably know, will replace, or is already replacing, loads of jobs. What are the jobs that will stay, or what are the best jobs that you can get into if you're young or if you have children? What can you recommend to them? So in my opinion, there is 3 very clear things that you can train them or that you can learn yourself. One is to be able to use AI in a way like vibe coding, or really knowing a lot in a specific field. There's more than 3. Let's talk about 4. So the AI narrative, right? This is quite clear because loads of jobs will be replaced. It starts with the consultant jobs, like, AI can do very easily work that a lawyer can do in most of the cases, and a tax consultant and stuff like that. And of course, also marketing jobs are getting slowly replaced. AI is able to generate videos and so on. So this will be one part. The next step will be, we are not at this point, but you can position yourself already. It will be robotics. So you could get into some kind of business where you sell robots to companies that do special things, right? And if you also have AI knowledge, you can even train these robots using AI. So this is also an interesting field. But then there's also the field of investing. And in investing, I would say we have two cases. You could become a very good investor in research. You really go into one narrative. This could also be the AI and real world assets narrative, the tokenization and so on. So if you become an expert in this, it will develop like the stock market. So you are basically early into the stock market, but this is a much more exciting field because everything will get tokenized, even stocks will move on chain. So if you're early in this industry, then you have a very good chance basically to survive or do very well in the next years. If you are interested in this and if you have a passion for it, I think this is a great job. And the last one, but not least, I think this is a very good opportunity if you like trading and if you can handle it mentally. Then also trading is a very good job. There will always be things that you can trade. Humanity always traded. And depending on your personality, it could very much benefit your personality. Meaning if you are not that outgoing or if you enjoy to be like more isolated, enjoy to be at home, sit in front of the computer, be able to almost pick your own working hours, don't have a boss, don't have colleagues, don't have customers, then trading can be a good solution for you because your only contact point is basically the market. The market can be very rude, but the market can also be very profitable, right? And it's not 100% true that you don't have working hours in most of the cases. Depends, right? If you are just an investor, then the timing is not that important. It is important, but it's not like an hourly timing. It's more, you can act on a daily basis, depending like on what time frame you trade. If you are trading shorter time frames, if you're trading like the 4-hour time frame, then it is, if you check every 4 hours, depending how the market moves. But even if you go to bed, you sleep 8 hours, you wake up, there should be 2 new candles. So this is fine because if one candle is forming, then it should basically close. You need to wait for the confirmation and then you should be fine without much stress, basically. So this could be very interesting for you, but I think the best combination is if you have hodl portfolio that you don't touch at all, like Bitcoin, then you have some longer term investments, meaning through research or through research and other people that have almost the same opinion or very different opinions, you discover some coins that you are quite sure that will do very good, very well, and you have some money, you invest in them, and you let them grow over, I don't know, half a year, and hopefully you made the right decision. You have been into the market in a way that you understand the narrative. It's very important to catch the right kind of narrative. If you have managed this, then this portfolio grows and it's not stressful. You just let it grow. Like I said, just if you think now you made a mistake or you didn't do the timing right or whatever, then you would basically get out. But just if you think the bull market is over. because otherwise there is no need to get out. For this, you have to understand the market cycles, you have to understand the business cycle, you have to understand M2 money supply, and some other factors. You need to know, is the trend bullish or bearish? You really need to monitor Bitcoin and crypto all the time. When Bitcoin moves, everything is moving, right? Like we started in the beginning of the video, everything moves, but it's very unusual that you have, I think I checked 20 assets, and for every asset, if I check the hourly candle, every asset had this hourly wick very heavily down. So I don't know how that can happen. If you have an explanation for that, please put it in the comments. So these are some solutions. So some of you, if you're still in these leverage trades, it's hard to recommend what you should do, right? But because Bitcoin is so weak at the moment, I don't think this will end good. I think we will probably go down a little more. And then what will happen then? Nobody knows. But I believe this should be the last correction before we see bull market really going up, or the alt season, because we have been for a lot of assets in the bull market. Unfortunately, most of the people have not been holding assets that have been in a bull market. The assets in a bull market over the latest months and even years have been like Bitcoin, right? Also BNB, like the finance token, has even outperformed Bitcoin. You have Solana that has performed very, very well. And then, of course, we have gold and silver that are performing really, really well. So it's always hard to decide when to get still into an asset, right? I looked at gold yesterday. If you're interested to buy gold and you're into crypto, there's some gold tokens. So Pax Gold, for example, this is from Tether, just tracking the gold price, but you can trade it. You can also leverage trade it on some platforms. But the question is now, gold is making a new high every day. Yes, you can still go in and trade with the trend, but yeah, I'm not sure if this is a good idea, right? Trading or getting into an asset at the all-time high is most of the time not a good idea, but we see now the world is quite unstable and everybody's fleeing to these assets, gold and silver. I guess because gold has been becoming so expensive, the issue is that people cannot really afford gold anymore, and this is why also silver is going up so much. So this could also be interesting alternatives. You probably know that on a lot of platforms, you can also trade now tokenized stocks, so these X stocks of Solana. But for me as crypto investor, you have to have a lot of budget, and you have to have the need to diversify, in my opinion, to put in some money into that. There's also the opportunity, there's some platforms like volatile, which will allow you to basically take your crypto assets, deposit it there, and they will buy physical gold and silver for you. So I think you can do it with gold, silver, Ethereum, and stablecoins and Bitcoin. So what you could do is, I'm not sure if this is not too old-fashioned still, but it's much safer. So what you could do is you have some Bitcoin that is not in your cold storage. You have some extra Bitcoin, or you take out your profits and put it into Bitcoin. What you could then do is you send it to Volatile. They will buy physical gold for you, and you have it there in your account. Or you could, the much easier way, you could go and just convert your profits into Pax Gold, where you have it digital then there. There's disadvantages and advantage to both of them. It's much easier to swap it for Pax Gold. You have Also counterparty risk, this is the same for both platforms. So Pax Gold, you just exchange it, you swap it, and what is then happening if you have it in your wallet? You can also put it on a hardware wallet, but be careful, like we discussed in some of the other videos. Pax Gold behaves in the same way as USDT or USDC or almost all stablecoins and almost all ERC20 assets, because the issuer, like Tether, can freeze your assets. Meaning, for example, you have 20,000, 30,000 Pax Gold in your wallet, and the issuer decides that, I don't know, you have done something strange, the government is coming in, or some smaller thing, then they could actually devalue basically your Pax Gold, or they could block it, that they can't send it. If you do it and you don't, probably, I'm not sure, they're saying they're buying gold in Switzerland and they have backed it one by one, but who knows? This story we have heard many times, right? And it most of the time was not true. In the other case, with Voltoro, you send your assets there. It's a little more complicated because you need an account with them, and they're doing KYC and they're quite strict. You send it there. They buy physical gold. They show you a certificate of your gold. Basically, you can check it and so on. Yeah, then you have your physical gold there, but then you have this kind of counterparty risk. It's a smaller company. So you have to decide for yourself. But this, especially when the bull market is coming to an end, I think this is a good solution for you. What you could do is you could take your profits not just in stable coins, but also in Pax Gold and maybe also in Bitcoin. Why should you do this? Because you have very high inflation at the moment. And also, if you are not an American, if you're not using US dollars, you also have the problem that your profits, because the dollar is so weak, are buying you almost 20% less things, right? Because if you exchange the dollar into the euro, it's really dramatic. Exchange rate is very bad. So this is not too good. So, and this will not become better, because the more money the governments print, the higher the inflation will get, the less you will be able to buy with your money. Because it is actually not the other way around. It's not basically that gold is becoming so much more valuable. It's more the other way around, that the fiat money is actually losing in value. And this is why it is very, very likely that we should pick up with Bitcoin. Normally we follow the gold price, and this should be the case because it would be quite logical. If your fiat money is losing value, then the Bitcoin price automatically will go up. There's very good infographics on X. If you search for it, the price of a house in Bitcoin and the price of just an iPhone or something like that. So you will see that your house will be actually dramatically cheaper every year. Also your phone, everything will be dramatically cheaper every year. Same with gold, right? So in the case of gold, now it's also getting cheaper, but the purpose of gold over the latest years or history was that always 1 ounce of gold could buy you, I don't know how you call it, tuxedo or like a very nice suit. And basically this was always the case. But with Bitcoin, it is even more extreme. So the Bitcoin will make everything cheaper. Like, I don't know what it was. In the beginning was 100 Bitcoin for a house, then it was like 50, then 10. Now the average house is about, I don't know, 3 Bitcoin or something like that. Depends on what country you are, right? And you see basically that the fiat money, if you would hold it, will actually lose you lots of money. This is why you should have some kind of strategy when now, hopefully, finally, the alt season starts. Already think about how you can cash it out later. Also think about what is your wallet strategy, meaning if you have still some coins staked on platforms, think about that this can take up to 2 weeks for some assets to unstake. Make sure you find all the assets, make sure you know all the wallet addresses, make sure if you take profit that you have your private keys back. So not, it would be bad if it happens to you, you transform or you send the money from exchange or from whatever to your wallet, then you have it in your wallet, and then something happens, and then you discover that you don't have access because the wallet is not functioning anymore, or you lost your computer and you don't have the private key or the seed phrase to recover it again. So be very careful. So let's end the video here. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you're not so much down with your portfolio. And like I said, in my opinion, we have not seen the market top. Now even the altcoin index, so the alt season indicator, reversed. So in our tool, Market PKI, we don't have any alert anymore. Out of these 34 indicators that should alert when the bull market is over, now again 0 are triggered. So take care. I see you. Bye-bye.